And joining us right now is Democratic Senator Jeff Merkley of Oregon for much more on where things head now. The big question mark is what happens next. Hard for anyone to know. But what we do know, Senator, is the president hit the pause button on some of the tariffs and the market surged. And now you just heard from Kevin Hassett and the way the White House is describing it. Essentially what we've heard over and over again is that this is all part of the plan, that this was strategic genius. If you have read The Art of the Deal, this is what you would see. Is that what you see?
Well, I don't know if it's genius to produce convulsing stock markets in a distressed bond market. I mean, normally when there's a sell-off in stocks, people move their money into bonds, which means that the interest rate drops. But in this case, the reverse. People fleeing the bond market at the same time they should have been buying into it. This was a massive signal that the world was losing faith in the stability and logic of the U.S. market. And of course, it's the world treating the U.S. market as a reserve currency that allows our interest rates to be lower. So this was a massive, massive red flag.
You have often called China an adversary. On just this point of taking on China, bumping up more tariffs on Chinese goods, do you applaud that he is taking China on so directly?
Well, he's not taking it on in a serious manner. In a serious manner, you say, hey, we're going to have a long-term, stable, rising response to the very low wages and very low environmental laws in China that are undermining manufacturing, because we want people to build their factories in the United States. But when you say I'm sending shock and awe in order to negotiate, no investor is going to build a factory in the United States as a result. So this is a really insanely, it's not crafted, it's not planned, it's from one day to the next, where am I going to stumble to? Really, this is a testosterone battle right now between Trump and Xi, and what we need is a serious strategy that encourages investment, factories to be built in the United States of America.
Well, speaking of factories to be built in the United States of America, I mean, a major company based in Oregon, as everyone knows, is Nike. And Nike took a huge hit at the beginning of these tariff announcements. They have production in Vietnam and Indonesia and China. And we've talked to the industry quite a bit, and they cannot move production back in here fast enough in order to not take a hit, because prices will go up. What does the news coming out just yesterday mean for Nike and for all of the people in Oregon that it employs?
Well, Kate, it's a huge factor. I mean, Nike does have factories elsewhere in Asia. They'll shift as much manufacturing as they can to places like Vietnam and Malaysia. But the key point you made is prices will go up. So last Wednesday, it was not Liberation Day. It was Trumpflation Day. The American consumer is going to see much higher prices, and American companies that import parts from China are now going to have more expensive products when they try to ship it around the world. And so it can really hurt in the short term American manufacturing rather than help it. But no, it's a huge hit to companies like Nike and all kinds of companies that import inputs or final products, finished products to the United States. And the American consumer is going to pay the price.
The Treasury Secretary is going to be leading negotiations, we've heard, over kind of new trade deals now over the next 90 days with this pause with other nations. What could you hear from Scott Bessent that would make you feel better about the approach?
I would like to hear him say, we understand that China does all sorts of things, non-tariff barriers, that are a huge problem. They make our American companies do partnerships with Chinese companies, which then rip off our intellectual information, or IP. They proceed to tell our companies where they can produce products in China that's a non-advantageous location. All of these things need to change. Plus, because of their low environmental laws and their low wages, there needs to be a much more reciprocal tariff. Those are steady, long-term strategies that would encourage investment in the United States. And when the American companies are in China, it would mean that we get a much fairer deal there.
You are also the top Democrat on the Senate Budget Committee, and there's whole lot going in terms of the world of the budget right now. House Republicans hit a snag last night. The Speaker had to push off a planned vote on the budget bill that was already the blueprint that was already approved by the Senate. There's an announcement they're going to try to vote on it again in the House this morning, so stand by for that. You did not like what passed the Senate. In the House conservatives are holding out because they do not think it goes far enough in terms of cuts. What happens if the House sends back changes?
Well, it does mean it has to go through the floor of the Senate again, but realize the underlying theme of this bill is families lose and billionaires win. We saw those billionaires standing behind Trump at the inaugural speech. This is a bill for billionaires. It takes $2 trillion in cuts to programs that families use to thrive, like health care and housing and education, and gives those $2 trillion to the richest Americans. Who thinks that's a good idea? I mean, lots of House Republicans are very nervous, particularly about the cuts to Medicaid, to health care that serves all kinds of functions in each state. So now the House conservatives are saying, well, we want to cut more than $2 trillion. That makes it just that much worse. And by the way, this bill puts up massive additional debt on the United States. The first numbers we had from CBO were $37 trillion, but that's before it was recalculated to include the additional tax cuts. I think we're going to see a much higher number today of new debt brought by this bill. Where are the House fiscal conservatives when it comes to the future of the United States, if they want to pile more additional debt onto the next generation than we built up in the last 249 years?
Well, that is some of the criticism from some of the conservatives who are holding out right now, is that they don't see the right pay-fors coming through. Senator, let's see what happens in the next couple hours. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
It'll be very interesting.
Interesting is one word for it. Do not forget a programming note for all.